maybe you can tell us, mate, how was it in pulling this book together? A lot of personalities, a lot of controversial issues. I know when you spoke to me for about 5 minutes. I thought I'm not going to get much of a mention here. And it's half an hour, was it? Oh, it seemed like 5 minutes to me because I was talking about myself. But, tell us about how did this unfold, and along the way, as you do as a journalist, not necessarily from my experience as a writer, but as a journalist, as you get into things and the story develops and people open up to you, you go from an idea to this is going right, to this is something sensational, and there's a drive that comes from within, and the words just jump from your fingers into the word process. And, was that the case with this book?
You're probably giving too much credit to me for that, Ed, but I must say the beauty of Bucks is that there was no question or subject that was off limits or taboo, so I tried my best, as any good author, writer, journalist tries to do, and tried to get him a little bit fidgety or uncomfortable, but that never really happened. There were certain sensitive areas that we went into, probably particularly in regards to the way he got from Port Adelaide to Brisbane, then Brisbane to Collingwood. That's probably a book in itself, and I think Mike Sheen intended to write a book about that one day, but we beat him to the punch. So, but as I say, Bucks was really a dream to work with. I should probably be speaking about him when he's outside the room, but he was just terrific. And the other part of it was that I spoke to about 100 people for this book, as Bucks said, to try to compile a 360-degree view of Bucks. And even with a couple of those fellas, he actually gave us a call and said, be honest, be brutally honest if you need to be. But the arrangement was that Bucks would always have the right of reply on everything. So he never cut out anything anybody else said, even if it was pretty harsh, which is a real credit to Bucks, I reckon, because there'd be a lot of people who'd go through this process, and it'd be easy to let ego take over, but I reckon he didn't let any ego get in the way. So.
Now, the book's come out obviously today is the official launch. I've had some excerpts in the Age newspaper, but the dedication is for Tanya, Jet and my family and friends. One more week we could have got Ace in there as well. It's going to be filthy on him forever. You're going to write a second book.
The second edition will be there, mate.
My coaching premiership success or something.
I'd love to work on that one day.
I'd like to be interviewed for it too.
At Collingwood.
You can say, mate.
MC after that one, I'll be talking for about 6 months. That's as hard going as it is. But so let's get into a little bit of it. As Ben said, there are a number of fascinating stories within the whole story with you. Just on the football front, first of all, the move from Brisbane to Collingwood, and I think this is interesting for people here because you found out a lot more about what happened around you that you didn't even know about yourself along the way, didn't you?
Yeah, and I don't want to ruin the read for everyone, so I'll sketch you.
How much did you get to know along the way?
Well, I didn't know that I actually had a manager in Mount Gambier in 1992 that the club had employed for me on my behalf. I only found out that last year. In the last year doing this book, that Collingwood had got this manager to call Brisbane at the time and to say that I'm his manager, he doesn't want to go to Brisbane, you better do the deal with us. And Brisbane got wind and found out about what was going on, and there was a little bit of detective work that went on after that, a bit of Magnum PI type work, and they tried to put Collingwood over a barrel, and then Collingwood put Brisbane back over the barrel, and I think basically it was VFL clubs doing what VFL clubs used to do to get their man, and there was a fair bit going on behind the scenes.
Bucks, one of the fascinating chapters in here, and we've seen it in the Age, so people probably have read it already, is the relationship and the development of yourself from being a young boy, a primary school boy in love with the game, and the relationship with your father. And basically that's the essence of sort of the text I'm going on Sunday, and because there's no rule book, and without giving away my column too much, Dermot Brereton spoke in being inducted as a living legend at the Carbine Club, and interestingly enough, he went into himself and spoke in a way that I haven't heard Dermot speak publicly ever about his relationship with his father, which was not unlike in some ways yours, but completely different in others. But the end product, there's no answer. As I said before, you can have the same pressure on one son and the second son. One turns out well, one turns into things don't turn out so well. Have you been able to look back now? Has this book been able to give you a chance to go back and look at those things? And have you changed your thoughts at different incidents along the way?
No, my relationship with Dad is obviously ebbed and flowed and developed over my lifetime. Writing the book didn't change how I see that or how he parented me. I'd found the things that I needed to, or took the lessons out of that I needed to before I was involved in this. Dad, I don't reckon I could have, and hate's a very strong word, I'm not a hater, but I don't reckon I could have disliked anyone more than I disliked my old man there for a little period when he was really tough on me, and that was more a reflection on me than it was on him. He was just trying to do what was best for me, and it comes out in the book. I mean, a lot of people have spoken to me since the excerpt was in the Age and said that they didn't know how they would be able to handle, the type of parenting that I was subject to. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am without my old man. He was fantastic. And I suppose the thing for me that I reflect on whilst writing this is how I'm going to parent my kids. And there's some things that I'll replicate and there's other things I'll avoid. And once again, that doesn't mean it's right or wrong, because it's horses for courses, and you try and. But what I do know out of life and what I've learned both in footy and in life in general is that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And all you need to do is be able to look yourself in the mirror and say that you're doing the very best that you can with the tools that you've been given and with the best intentions. And then after that, it's up to the individual to make their mind up about whatever it is they do. And I suppose that comes back to a footy club. You try and create the right environment. Not everyone's going to learn from it. Not everyone's going to take advantage of it. But if you look after what you can look after, as my old man did with me, well then sometimes he had to be really strong with me when he knew I was going to hate him and he knew I was going to not like it. But that's what courage is, and that's what leadership's about. And I suppose I've learned throughout my life about that.
And that's the point. You say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But it'll never get a drink if it doesn't get led to the water in the first place. So it's one of those chicken and the egg scenarios.